On this edition of the Rock and Metal Faith Podcast, we go back in time and talk about the history of Christian rock. We find out who the pioneers are, the ones who started it all off. So join us. On this edition of the Rock and Metal Faith Podcast, we go back in time and learn about the history of the genre. We talk about the pioneers that started it all off. Hey, welcome back to the Rock and Metal Faith Podcast. I'm your host, Arin Rockman, and this is Kris Kool. Hey, how you doing?
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. How you doing, Arin?
Oh, I'm doing good. Today on the podcast, we're gonna go back in time. How's that sound?
I'm ready to go in the time machine. Let's go.
Yeah, we're gonna go back in time. We're gonna talk about the history, the pioneers of Christian rock. Before we do that, though, we're gonna have to talk about news and birthdays. Before I forget, let's talk about new albums. POD has a new one came out called Veritas. Are you a POD fan?
They're not bad. I mean, I have a couple of the Youth of a Nation, which is a great song in the early '90s. So yeah, they're rock, but yeah, they're okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Arin?
I'm not bad. I've heard their new album Veritas. To me, it basically sounds like what you would expect from POD. So nothing new there. If you're a POD fan, I think you would really like this album. Again, it's called Veritas. Next on the list, we have Dale Thompson and the Boondogs with Unfinished Business. This is a project from Dale Thompson of Bride. He's done lots of side projects. And this is actually a blues project that he's been doing.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's good. It's different. If you've heard Dale singing lately, it's his vocals to electrified blues music type of thing. I kind of think if Dale was in this band. I'm not sure now. I think Dale Thompson's with him in this band, and I don't know who does the rhythm section on this. Unfinished Business is their third release, the third blues album from Dale Thompson. And yes, it basically sounds, again, what you expect, the Dale Thompson Boondogs blues type of music. So for those out there who've been enjoying the first two albums, go out there and buy the third one. There you go. Human Cold has a brand new album called Break the Silence. This is a band led by I can't remember his name offhand, but led by the singer from Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. But anyways, led by the singer from, can't I think of the band's name now? Baron Cross.
Ah, okay.
Was it? And I should know who this was. Anyways, the singer from Baron Cross has a band he's been doing called Human Code. There's been a few other musicians from other bands part of this. I haven't heard this album yet. I don't know what it sounds like, unfortunately. Uh, I think it was released under Girder Music and been doing well. Uh, I know if you search for it, Human Code, Break the Silence, they're offering
Human code, like human.
Human Code, yes.
Okay.
They are doing a package release, CD, T-shirt package type of thing like this. Actually, I think a lot of bands are doing this, trying to get fans to buy their CD, so they're adding something with the CD and stuff like this. The band Calamity Kills has an album out. I think it's just the self-titled one called Calamity Kills. This is Jamie Rowe's new band. Who Jamie Rowe you might know from Guardian.
Yes.
When he left Guardian there, he's not sure what he's been doing recently, but they put out a number of singles apparently, and now have put all those singles together into one album. So you can buy Calamity Kills. Their first, actually one of their songs, I wouldn't say the first single because I'm not sure where it lines up as far as releases, but one of their songs has been on a series' Octane channel. It's called Chemistry of Meant to Be. These guys are a little bit different than Guardian was. You can definitely tell it's Jamie's voice. And it's kind of new metal, hard rock, all mixed in together type of thing. It's not bad. I've been listening to it, enjoying it. And the last thing on our... Oh, where we go here? Oh, here we go. Bride's lineup. I have here the rhythm section for Immortal Fest will include Frank Partapillo on bass and Michael Roy on drums. So that's their lineup for Bride that you will see at Immortal Fest, alongside Troy and Dale Thompson on vocals and guitars. And on tour is Striper right now, on touring with for their To Hell with the Amps tour, their acoustic unplugged tour and stuff. There have been actually a few videos released of songs from the shows and stuff like this. They've even been playing your favorite song, Kris.
Honestly,
No, they're your favorite.
oh, Living God of Prayer. That's
Living
right.
Prayer, yeah.
Living God of Prayer. Yes, that. Yeah, I saw that. Like, wow, very cool. Yeah.
Actually, they have been playing Honestly too with a different arrangement. Michael Sweet said a few years back that while his voice is still strong, it isn't where it was back in the 80s, you know, and I don't think you can sing Honestly the way it was originally recorded back in 85, 86.
86, yeah.
Yeah. So.
And that happens over time, right? So.
Yeah. I mean, Michael's voice still sounds good. It's just not where it was 30 years ago, and that's understandable.
That's right. He can't do Calling on You and hitting the L, and he just goes way up. He can't do that anymore.
No, but you know, it's
good though.
Good. It's better than most.
Yeah, oh yeah. He still probably got 25, 30 years out of, you know.
Yeah. Okay, I think. Oh, one last bit of news is the Brave had to pull out of Immortal Fest. They're going through.
Who? The Brave?
Yeah. They're going through a lineup change right now. So they're trying to solidify their lineup, get ready to record new tracks with the new band. So they're kind of doing rehearsals, you know, getting some new music ready. So sounds like they're coming out with new music. We've got new music from the Brave later this year, new music from X Sinner later this year.
Yeah.
New music from Bride. They're working on a double album this year. I think all the songs are pretty much recorded, just ready to be engineered, mixed, and all that kind of thing. But all the tracks for the songs have been done. There's new music from Striper as far as an electric rock album coming out. So should be lots of good music coming out.
Yeah, for us, that'd be. Stay tuned to us. We'll get all of it to you.
All right. Next up on the list is birthdays. We'll try and get through these really quick, and it's late in the month. We did our interview episode last episode, so we didn't do birthdays. Let's just do all of June. So some of these are been come and gone. Most of them have come and gone, I guess, because it's late June now. So all the birthdays we missed this past month. June 6th was and not a birthday, an anniversary. Recognizing the death of Dana Key in 2010. Dana Key from the Garmo and Key
Oh, okay, okay. I was just gonna ask who that was. Okay.
and stuff. June 11th, we have a birthday from Ty Anderson of the band Third Day, born 1976, June 11th. June 12th, we got Michael Angelo Di Beto, born 1956. He was a session player for the band Shout.
Really? For Ken? Hey, we gotta do a Ken Toplin
Ken Tamplin.
episode. Ken Tamplin
You know that?
episode one of these
Well,
days.
that's coming. What I think we should do is this episode is all about history. We're going to do history
Yeah.
part 1, talk about the pioneers that were around in the 70s. It might extend into a part 2, and then probably the time the fall hits, we'll be ready for the 80s. And that's kind of
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. Ken. Yeah.
that's kind of our wheelhouse is the music in the 80s. So we can spend a lot of time in the 80s talking about a lot of the bands there.
At that time, you should send a text out to Ken and see if we could get him on the show.
Yeah, we'll see.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. June 12th. Oh yeah. Again, June 12th, we have a birthday. Jason Andrew Sherlock, who played with Mortification, born 1970.
Was he the vocalist or the?
That I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not a
I'd love to know who did the singing for that band. Wow.
I'm not a Mortification, and I haven't been looking up what everybody did in the band. That's something that I have with some people, not everybody.
Sure.
June 13th, and this actually came across my Facebook feed because another way of researching bands is following them through Facebook, and then when they announce birthdays, I can write that down. And that's how I found out about Glenn Thomas, who was of the band X Sinner.
Oh yeah, okay.
Apparently he engineered one of their albums as well as played guitar. He also plays guitar and bass. I'm not sure if he actually played with X Sinner or just engineered their albums.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah. June 15th, we have a legend, John Lowry of Petra, born 1950.
Oh.
June 18th, we had another legend, not quite as old, but Oz Fox at Striper, 1961, his birthday. June 19th, we got a few people. Rick Foley, who played with Bride, passed away in 2021. So I guess not a birthday, but a anniversary of death. Rick Foley.
I thought you said really quickly. I thought you said Nick Foley of the WWE. I'm like,
No,
what?
Rick Foley with an R.
Rick Foley. That's what I thought. Yeah,
And stuff.
They could be related.
Yeah, he was on their breakout album Snakes in the Playground. In 1970, we have a birthday for Brian Head Welch. And if you want,
The last name rings a bell.
well, he was formerly of Korn. And if you're wondering why I'm talking about Brian Welch, he actually has become a Christian. He's like Alice Cooper. In fact, we did an episode talking about Christians in non-Christian bands. We talked about Brian Welch then, type of thing. So
if you haven't heard the episode, pause this and go listen to the other one.
There you go. And 1958 birthday, again, June 19th, Roger Dale Martin, who played bass for Vengeance, and is also with the current band now, Reign of Glory, and stuff. And Reign of Glory actually is a great new band. I just found out about them, I think, within a week or last week or whatever. Just blew my mind how great these guys are. June 22nd, Jesse Sprinkle, formerly of Demon Hunter. It was born 1976. And Ryan Clark of Demon Hunter, born 1979, and the next day, June 23rd. And then, you know what? 2 more. And then that'll be it for June. Both on June 29th, Christian Borneo, who played with Petra, actually, I believe he's currently with Petra. I think he's the bass player. Born 1981. And Rob Rock, born 1959, June 29th.
Rob Rock?
Rob Rock, yes.
Rock, yeah. I have a couple of his singles.
Yeah, he's good. High voice, fast paced music, yeah. Double kick drum all the time.
Wow, it is pretty.
Yeah, I know he's good. I like this song, his album, Holy Hell.
Yes.
Have you heard that one? Yes.
I think that's what I have. Yeah.
Probably his best.
He's pretty cool.
I think that was probably his best album. All right.
He would be someone to talk about too one of these days.
Oh yes, definitely. There's so many great artists out there, I tell you.
Yeah, a lot.
Time to plug it in and turn it up. Today on Plug It In, we're going to feature a fairly new band. They've been around just a short time. The band is called Faithhead. They came to me there and said, hey, we've got a new song that is coming out. And I listened to it. This is really good. They got an EP out there. It's really hard to say what they sound like. But Faithhead was a hard rock progressive metal band formed in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Originally formed in 2016. I believe they've gone through a couple of lineup changes since then. Features Jimmy Webb on vocals, Bryant Montgomery and Donnie Rains on guitars, P. Funk Shipley on bass, who was also the founder of the band, and Dale Adams on drums. Anyways, this is their new song, Artificial God.
First, we have to start all the way at the beginning because we did jump into the time machine.
Yes, we're going back, way back to 1930 something. About
I wasn't around.
way back, we're saying about yeah, mid 30s, 30 or late 30s, because I want to talk first about Sister Rosetta Tharpe, who was a black female gospel singer blending blues, gospel, rock, all into one style type of thing. And, she got her start down in the 30s. She's one of the first recording gospel music stars, played blues and rock as well. First to use electric guitar. I believe she was using an SG. First to use distortion. She's influenced people like Little Richard, Johnny Cash, Chuck Berry, Elvis, Eric Clapton, Keith Richards, many more and stuff. And if you go back in time, or don't even have to go back in time, just go back to find out who influenced your favorite stars, who influenced them, and who influenced them. You work your way back, you're going to come up with Sister Rosetta Tharpe. Influence, started the whole ball rolling type of thing. If you go back to her recordings, it doesn't sound like much from today's standards. But this was recorded back in the 1930s. You got to remember that.
Yeah, they didn't. That's right.
She had hits with like a song called "This Train" in 1939, "Down by the Riverside" in 1944. She's almost like the Robert Johnson of gospel music type of thing. Robert Johnson is a blues artist, got his claim to fame by supposedly selling the soul to the devil so he'd be famous type of thing. But his music has inspired everybody that came after him. Eric Clapton has covered Robert Johnson tunes. So many people have covered songs from Robert Johnson. Sister Rosetta Tharpe is kind of the same in the Christian vein type of thing. She's was playing and performing at the same time as Robert Johnson and has inspired so many Christian artists ever since type of thing. So you had to get her name out there. Then we jump ahead to the late 60s, 68, 69, to the godfather of Christian rock, Larry Norman.
Yep.
And stuff. I'm not sure about Larry, but I know there were a lot of artists that came out of the Jesus People movement and stuff, which was made up of ex-hippies, and the hippies were disenchanted with the war, the Vietnam War had gone on, and disenchanted with the government, and they turned to the hippie culture type of thing, free love, drugs, and all this. A lot of people realizing the hippie culture didn't fulfill their spiritual needs type of thing, and started turning to Jesus, started turning to the church type of thing. And thus the Jesus People movement was started. A lot of the ex-hippies joined the Jesus People because they found acceptance. They weren't judged for their long hair. They weren't judged for not wearing suits and looking a certain way and stuff like this. And a lot of them weren't informant, but a lot of them were musicians and started forming bands within their culture. Larry Norman first got to start with a band called People in about 68, 69. And then he went solo. About that time he became saved. His famous records, his first one was in 69 called Upon This Rock. And then 72 was Only Visiting This Planet. And those Only Visiting This Planet had some of the famous songs called Why Don't You Look Into Jesus, Righteous Rocker, Why Should the Devil Have All the Good Music?
Good music, yeah.
That's a good song right there.
I want the people to know that it saved my soul, but I still like to listen to the radio. They say rock and roll is wrong, we'll give you one more chance. I say I feel so good, I gotta get up and dance. I know what's right, I know what's wrong, I don't confuse it. All I'm really trying to say is why should the devil have all the good music? And I feel good every day, because Jesus is the rock and he rolled my blues away. They say to cut my hair, they're driving me insane. I blew it out long to make room for my brain. But sometimes people don't understand what's a good boy doing in a rock and roll band. There's nothing wrong with playing blues lit, but if you got a reason, tell me to my face. Why should the devil have all the good music? There's nothing wrong with what I play. Ah, Jesus is the rock and he rolled my blues away. All right.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Why should the devil have all the good music? His next record, 76, there was So Long in the Garden, and another one, came out in 76 called In Another Land, which also had another favorite of mine, The Rock That Doesn't Roll. And stuff. Also, when you look at the 72 record, Only Visiting This Planet, throughout the years, there's been multiple reissues of that record, and he's added songs onto it and stuff. Like he's recorded Righteous Rocker, but then you can find a second version on the same album called Righteous Rocker number 2, the heavy rock version. He's redone it a third time, released that on In Another Land, Righteous Rocker number 3. So he keeps writing the same song and just adding to it, I guess, or releasing it on later records.
He likes those songs.
Yeah,
That's funny.
But he didn't shy away from controversy either. He wrote some very controversial lyrics talking about gonorrhea and drinking and actually, this is all within one of the songs, Righteous Rocker. I'm not sure which version, but you're putting your faith in all the wrong stuff. You're putting your faith in sex, and you end up with an STD.
Nothing.
You put
Yeah.
your faith in alcohol, and all you're getting is drunken stupor. Or I can't remember how he. It's been a long time since I've heard that song. I can't remember how the line goes. And he keeps saying, no, that's actually sorry. It's not the Righteous Rocker. It's a song. Why don't you look into Jesus? Because you're saying you're putting your faith in all this other stuff, getting all these headaches and all these bad consequences. Instead, why don't you put your faith into Jesus? Why don't you look into Jesus? And he played mostly on acoustic guitar, but that didn't slow him down. That didn't mean he was some laid-back, soft-spoken guy. He played that acoustic guitar heavy like it was an electric guitar.
Like an electric guitar. Wow.
Actually, I want to say, too, because last episode we were talking about comparisons, and we stuck a lot with bands that sounded like other bands that had vocals that kind of sounded like other bands. Like, we mentioned how Scott Winslow's on the White Cross sounded a little like Stephen Percy from Rat, and the guy from Baron Cross there sounded like Iron Maiden and all this. There's a lot of bands that, while their vocals didn't sound like another band, stylistically, they kind of sound like another band. If you want to compare Larry Norman musically, you could kind of say he's a little bit like Neil Young.
Okay, all right.
Kind of like a folk rock singer. Although I'd say he's a heavier Neil Young. Like I said, not a soft spoken guy, not a laid back guy, a little heavier. And also at this time, I don't want to miss out. Other guys come up at the same time as Larry Norman. Guys like Randy Stonehill and Keith Green.
I remember, Keith Green and Randy Stonehill. Yeah. Don't ask me any of their songs. I don't remember that far back.
Yeah, I don't either, and I'm not a huge fan of those guys. I'm not even a huge fan of Larry Norman. It's good to know where music comes from, and these guys started it off.
Exactly.
And Larry Norman does have some good stuff out there, so don't write him off completely. Does compare to music nowadays? Probably not, but it all starts somewhere, right?
Yeah, I wonder if we ever get to interview the really heavy bands, we'll ask them where, did they ever get influenced by Larry Norman?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely.
So.
Also, about this time, a few years later, though, not quite early 70s, another band was forming. Actually, they formed in 1972. They were definitely part of the Jesus People movement, or Jesus People USA. I'm talking about the Resurrection Band. Yeah, but so Rez forms in 1972. They have Glenn and Wendy Kaiser on vocals. Glenn also plays guitar. Wendy, his wife, is the singer, and both of them sing within the band. They have Stu Heiss, who plays guitar and keyboards. They have John Arin on drums. And then throughout the years, they've had different bass players.
Oh.
What is this? Dylan Pelto played bass from 72 to 74. So he actually wasn't even part of the band when they get their record release or record deal. They get their record deal.
Who did they sign with?
Did I write that down? First album came out on Star Song.
Okay.
And they released a couple independent albums before they got the record deal. So Dylan Pelto would play bass on those albums, leaves the band, in comes Jim Denton on bass, who played with them from 74 to 87. And then Roy Montroy played bass from 87 to 2000. So their first bass player played on the first albums before they get their record deal. They get the record deal, and he's out. And their first two songs, or first two albums, appeared on Star Song. Awaiting Your... Well, sound-wise, Rez came out much heavier live than they sound on their albums. They've
Mm-hmm.
been compared to Led Zeppelin. So if you could think of a Christian version of Led Zeppelin,
Oh, jeez.
they came out amps cranked up to 10 or 11 if they had them. This amp goes up to 11. That's a Spinal Tap reference.
That would be, yeah.
But I mean, loud amps, loud guitars, and just cranking out blues-based music, kind of like Led Zeppelin. The difference again, Glenn's voice does not sound like Robert Plant. They also have a female vocalist who sings on some songs. You can kind of hear musically Zeppelin comparisons if you listen to them live.
I remember
Actually,
when I
I'm gonna
saw
play.
him here. Oh, okay. What song are you gonna play?
Well, I'm gonna play a song that was on their first record, which was Awaiting Your Reply. But this version actually it comes off the 20 Years Live. I think it's a good way of showing the power behind them and how great a song is. The song is called Waves. Wait for this to upload.
Oh yeah. Listen to those lyrics, vocals.
People are people, why can't you understand? Fools that know the silence and love supposed to have. When will you begin to receive the love of God? Jesus wants to touch you and hold you with his arm.
Wow.
Look into your life and tell me what do you see? Don't you realize what he offers is for free? Look out! I know that there's a heaven and soon I'll be there. No lying, no crying, no dying, no fear. If you wanna join us, you can come along with this bloody flight. You had it in your belong. Come along, yeah.
That's a good song. And that was one thing I would remember about Rez. They spent a lot of time in their show talking about giving the chance for people about the gospel. And they were bold about it. I remember that. They were just in your face about it. Not crushing, you gotta do it now. I mean, but they were really good.
Oh, yes. And they had good stories, too. That song comes off 20 Years Live. If you've got that, I believe Wendy gives her testimony as far as how she became a Christian and talks about some personal trauma that she went through before she was. But, that's a great song. That one of the album, I got a whole list of albums I got to get. Some of them go way back to Rez's first albums too, type thing. Definitely on my list of albums to get is their second one called Rainbow's End. There's a lot of great stuff. 20 Years Live is a great one. That was actually the second album from Rez I bought Innocent Blood. That was the first time I ever heard Rez. Was at a free concert that they gave here in Edmonton. I didn't know anything about them. Went and checked them out with a buddy or whatever. I was so impressed. I had to go to the merch table, buy something type of thing. I ended up buying the cassette. I think I would have bought more if I had more money.
Yes. There. Did we know each other then?
I don't think so. I was still in high school then when that came out. And I remember going with a buddy of mine from high school to that show.
Maybe they were here, 94, 95?
Could have been, yeah. We'll get to that one. I'm going to do a rundown of the whole discography, which I'm going to start right now. They released actually 2 independent albums first, one called All Your Live in 73, the other one called Music to Raise the Dead. I mean, these guys were loud, maybe not loud on record or cassette. And the first ones were only on cassette. They were independently recorded and released. But yeah, maybe that's what they meant by Music to Raise the Dead. If you went and saw them live, the dead were raised.
Yeah, I remember. They were at the old airline, city airport hangar when I saw them. Oh my! And I'm glad that they got the hangar. They were loud. They had Silent Cry with them.
Oh, that would have been
Wow.
good. That would have been good.
Yeah, yeah.
But their first actual label release was in 78. That late? I thought they were earlier than that. But anyways, 73, 74 were their independent releases. The first actual release on a label on Star Song was Awaiting Your Reply in 78. And then Rainbow's End in 79, still on Star Song. Again, we're talking about the production of these records. I've been listening to them through Spotify. There's some good stuff there. The production is a little weak compared to how they sounded live. I think that's why a few records down, they decided to release a live record. If I remember which ones are live and which ones are studio. They don't say that on this list here. 1980 came out with Colors on Light Records. And then in 81 was Mommy Don't Love Daddy Anymore. 82 released DMZ. Oh, there we go. And then 84 was Live Bootleg. Took them that long to release a live record? I would have done that after 3 or 4 records.
Wow.
And I'm going back to this. Like I said, their first label release was in 78 and then second in 79. That was kind of late for the 70s. I thought they got to start. Well, they were getting going. It took a little while to get going. It's kind of like like Dee Snider. No, not Dee Snider. Kind of like JJ French from Twisted Sister. If you ever hear him talk about the history of Twisted Sister, they were playing in clubs for 10 years before they got a record deal.
That's right. I saw that documentary too. Yeah.
So it depends on, when does a band get to start? When they form and start putting songs together, or when they get, a label release type of thing. Most people first hear the band with a label release, but sometimes the band has been together a lot longer than that,
Yeah, well, we know, right, from our last episode with Rex and Brad, right, how much it costs to do an album, and that would be why, unless you are funded by the record label itself, it's going to take for you to fundraise the capital, right? So
yeah, you mean Rex and Dave?
Yeah, with Dave Roberts, that's right. Yeah,
and stuff. In 1984, Rez releases would have been the greatest hits then, the best of. Again, title now, Music to Raise the Dead. They love that line. I wonder if they wrote a song and titled that.
I don't know.
We'll find out when we go back and do very in depth. This is kind of a quick overview.
That's right.
In 84, they did Hostage, and then Between Heaven and Hell in 85, which I believe was another live record. And then 88 was when you heard them with Silent Screams.
To this day, I will still listen to the single Silent Screams.
Well, there was good stuff off of Innocent, or off of Silent Screams. I think the song Light comes off of there. Again, I would have heard it first off of 20 Years Live, and then should have gone back a little bit, find out where a lot of this stuff, a lot of the songs came from. It's like buying a live record and then finding out the studio records afterwards type of thing. And that's kind of my reaction to Rez is seeing them live, buying Innocent Blood, and there's some great songs off of that. You know, and that was Innocent Blood was in '89. Unfortunately, I missed the release of the album Civil Rights, and that's one that's on my list to get. And then I did find 20 Years Live. After that was another one in '93 called Reach of Love. And I missed that one too. I didn't even realize that one came out. That was kind of the problem with, I think, Christian music is promotion and letting fans know when stuff is out.
Yeah, that's right. They don't do that very well, or
No.
they don't let the public know.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Letting people know, letting fans know when a record comes out. And now you have to kind of connect with the band through social medias, and then you find out when stuff comes out. I did find out about their '95 release, which was called Lament, and we might talk about that once we continue the series into the '90s and talk about music in the '90s. Lament was a good album, but it was very different musically. It was a somber album. It wasn't a typical rock and roll record. I think it was meant to be like a concept or based around a certain theme. Musically, it was different than what they'd done before. I don't know how to describe it. It was good, but you had to be open for something new and different. And then in '97, they released Appendectomy, which was a unplugged version of Greatest Hits. So they took a lot of their Greatest Hits songs and did them acoustically.
Wow, that seems to be the way bands are going now.
Yeah, like I said, Striper just did it recently.
Yeah, Striper. Yeah.
Actually, I like that. I plan on getting that one too. But it came out, and I was able to hear it and get a good feel for what that record is like, and I'm liking it. Stuff. There's some good different versions. The other band I wanted to bring up, and we talked about these guys on an earlier episode, and I'm sure we'll talk about them quite a bit too, is the group Petra got their start. Group. There we go. Petra Band. Got their start in '73, I believe it was. Here we go. First album was in '74. Come and Join Us in '77. Wash is Whiter Than was in '79. And these first three records didn't even have a steady vocalist. I think it was Bob Hartman and the other guitar player were trading vocals back and forth on their first three records. And then, yeah, because they list Greg Volts from '80 to '85. I don't know if that's accurate or not. It might be. I thought he came in on Wash is Whiter Than. Greg Volts then. Yeah, so I guess Petra got their start in '74. Didn't become the band that people knew until the '80s. When Greg Volts joined them. With Never Say Die, More Power to You, Not of This World.
Yeah.
Beat the System. And then when did John Schlitt join them? I think it was Back to the Street was when John Schlitt joined Petra. But yeah, with their first album in '74, you could say they're a '70s band too. I mean, they're doing their 50-year anniversary tour right now. Or just finished off their 50th anniversary tour. So I just wanted to do a shout out to Petra. I know we did a best of greatest hits type of thing with them. And I think at that episode too, we talked about the history of Petra type of thing. So if you haven't heard that episode, go back and listen to that one. We're not going to do a deep dive into the history because we've already done that.
Yeah.
That's one thing we didn't mention talking about Rez. They started out known as Resurrection Band. Talking about, the whole theme was music to raise the dead. And they had that whole resurrection theme right from the start. Rez was short for resurrection. And look into that. What album they started shortening their name down. Maybe it was in the 80s. Maybe it was with Silent Screams. Maybe it was before that. Maybe it was DMZ.
And I
If
remember
anyone out
they
there
talked
knows.
about that with their testimonies. That's what they would. I remember that they talked about that their band was named because after this, Jesus died and rose again, and he died for our sins and all that really great stuff. So they were really. What are they doing now? Did you ever find out anything? Are they retired?
Yes and no. They haven't been together for many years. The last record I believe was, I guess, Lament. I thought Appendectomy was their last record, but Lament came out after that, according to Wiki. Anyways, so we know how reliable Wikipedia is. I think that's about it for this episode.
All right.
Um,
So if you get a chance, go out there and check out Rez on YouTube.
Before we sign off, we definitely want you guys who are out there listening to help us grow the podcast. Let your friends know you're listening. Share this to your socials. Get the
Share it.
word out
Yeah.
that we're out there doing this, talking about this, and yeah,
Yes, do all that, and
it all harkens right back to the beginning to Larry Norman and his song "Why Should the Devil Have All the Good Music."
the good music. That's right.
So yeah, once again, share this to all your socials. If you're trying to get a hold of us too, there's lots of ways. We've got a Facebook site called Rock and Metal Faith. We've got a Facebook group called the Rock and Metal Faith Podcast, which is a group all within Facebook. So we got two Facebook sites type of thing. We're on Instagram. I believe we're on X as well. To do it and all this. We're on a lot of this stuff. And our email, if you want to drop us a line. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. If you got ideas for future episodes, if you think we're two buffoons who are rambling, well, we are, but
Speak for yourself, man. Buffoons, come on.
okay, one buffoon and anyways, if you like what we're doing,
So if you get a hold of us, let us know.
if you like what
If you're a band, get a hold of Arin.
there you go.
You know?
If you like what we're doing, let us know. If you don't like what we're doing, let us know, and we'll try not to do that again.
Well, if you don't like what we're doing, you could just move on. Keep going.
We don't want to do that. We want to improve the podcast.
Well, yes, we do. Yes. If you have great ideas for us, that would be great. We'd love to hear from anybody. This is a family-friendly podcast, so friendly maybe, but yes,
And when we have actually, I've heard from a couple listeners who are younger than us, so they didn't grow up in the 80s. They, didn't listen to the 80s bands when they came out. They did say, they don't know the younger or the older bands as well as we do, and they appreciate us talking about them and learning about that. So,
oh shucks, I'm touched.
All right,
I take back what I said.
I think that's good for the episode.
Please stick around, hang out with us, and reach out to us. We want to know there's more than one person listening.
Yes. We love feedback. And until then, should we sign off?
Signing off. Have a good week, good month. We'll see you guys later.
Rock on and God bless.
See you later on the Rock Metal Faith Podcast.